Cause we came up off of slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane. We came up off of slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane. Hey, G-R-E came into my district. Take off your shoes when you enter my whip. But she bad, but she bad, but she bad to the bone. I get much satisfaction, count cash and I'm gone. Niggas accident prone, always fall off. I ain't fanning no bro, made her take her clothes off. Just a trill young nigga, business since it scrolled out. I ain't fucking with no labels, we know how to hold out.
Phone steady buzzing, that's the clientele coming through the door, shipping low.
Black man, black fam, black fam. Welcome to Black Dad Code, where everything we do before family, nothing before family. I'm your favorite guy from Major High, Mr. Kelly Major.
Kevin Bailey.
I'm Charles Williams.
Today we'll be interviewing Mr. Kendall Thomas.
Hello.
What's up?
How you doing today, Kendall?
I'm great. I'm great.
Welcome
Thanks
to
for
Black
having me.
Dad Code.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Glad to have you in.
All right. Could you please tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, give us a little bit of background about who Kendall is?
Yeah, so I'm Kendall Thomas. I originally from Brooklyn, New York. Came here to Tulsa, go to college, stayed, got married, have 2 daughters, and I spent 20 years in the car business, which is how I know Kelly. So, but now I'm in financial services and just honored to be with you guys. Business owners, entrepreneurs, black men. It is really an honor and a privilege to be with you guys.
Another New Yorker in the building. Another
Yeah.
Balancing it out.
You know how you get a little reinforcement. I was feeling a strong pull from the west.
And the seating arrangement was not by design, but it worked out this way.
Like the different coasts. East Coast, West Coast. Okay. Yeah.
So what do you do for a living, Kendall?
I'm in financial services, so I educate people on how to organize their money, make sure they've got enough to retire on, make sure they've got enough for their kids to get the kids to be taken care of. But yeah, so I really enjoy it. I really enjoy educating families, and because I'm growing every day, every time I learn something. Mm-hmm. So it is great. Kevin and I were talking, and we were saying how a lot of families, parents leave assets to their children, but end up losing them, but just because of very small, simple mistakes that they make. Like you've got families that are leaving their estates to kids, so 2 or 3 homes, which is what most people have their wealth tied up in. Wow. But when they pass away, the kids don't have enough money to take care of the taxes or what have you, and so this asset that their parents worked 30 years to build up, they lose over $5,000. Yeah. Right? So those are the types of things I help people with.
Awesome. And see, and that relates with Black Dad Code, because as a black dad, you got to know how to protect, like he said, your assets, things you try to pass down, hand down, finances. All of these things go into being a good black dad. That's why I wanted to bring you in for different aspects of that and everything like that. So, do you have any children?
I do. I have two daughters. So when I met my wife, she had a little girl. So that daughter, I met her when she was 3. So now she's 22 yesterday. And yeah, and so and then we have a 5-year-old together. So love having girls. If I could talk my wife into having some more babies, I would, but she's done.
She's like, no. Hey, she gave me the nod after we had one. She was like, nah, we done. It's a wrap.
So how was it raising a stepdaughter?
Honestly, it was fairly simple. I mean, her dad unfortunately just chose not to have anything to do with her. So I'm really the only dad she's known since she's been 3. She's blonde, or she's redhead with blue eyes. So we look nothing alike. So people know when they see us that okay, that's not his kid. It's not his biological kid. Mm-hmm. But it was really fun. I mean, when they're young, kids they just want to be around you, right? They don't really care. My dad, when I was growing up, he didn't necessarily take us to the park or to to do fun kid things. But he would take us to do adult things. He would take me to work. He'd take me to run errands, take me to the post office. And I realized I had a great time with him. So that's what I do with my daughter. I mean, we do go to the park. We do play games. We do go to the water park and, things like that. But at the end of the day, I don't feel compelled to take her to all these things. Just spend time with her. Just spend time with the kids.
Yes, you have a very, very, very unique perspective, because often when the father's not in the life, it's projected it's us, men of color. Right. But in your particular instance, can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, so my stepdaughter's father, bio dad is white, and so he never saw her, never did anything. You never spent any time with her whatsoever, unless he looked her up online. I don't even know that he would know what she looks like. Wow. And so it was important to me to bring that up even in this meeting because as black dads, we're constantly in the media, in movies. Yeah. Talk about how we don't take care of our dads. Right. And I'll be honest with you, most of my black friends are taking care of white kids, where the parent has nothing to do with it. But yet we're always now. Granted, I know statistically you can say what you want, but when you hear those statistics about black dads, no one ever follows that up with white dads or Hispanic dads or Indian dads. You know what I mean? Those statistics never come up, so it's always black dad, black dad, But what compared to what? Like, you know what I mean? If I say I'm a fast runner, you would say, well, compared to who? You know what I mean? Exactly. So when you talk about black dads, or they leave their kids, compared to what? You got to have some other statistics, but you never hear those statistics quoted.
And I think that's really like one of the stereotypes that's been inflected on us for years and years. Absolutely. But now in our circle, we don't, especially in my circle and these guys' circle too, all my brothers, all my friends, they're with their kids all the time. All my cousins, nephews, they love the shit out of their kids. Sometimes they love the kids more than the female. You know what I'm saying? You always got this little knucklehead with you. What's going on here? It's my son, man. Which, and we get a bad rap for that. And that's not cool. That's not cool at all. But we here to change that.
We're gonna debunk that.
Yeah.
We blowing that up every day.
Absolutely.
Every day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but we were gonna ask about the relationship that you or the daughter and the father have, but you speaking on that, saying that there's no relationship there. No. And that's kind of weird because they always try to put, I don't want to make it seem like it's a race issue, but they always try to put the white fathers above. That's saying that they're always there, they're better.
They're always there, they always pay.
But, in this situation, it's not necessarily true. So, hey, that's it's not a bad thing for them, but we need to quit. They need to quit putting it all on us all the time because we're not. It's bad dads of every color.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll put it out there like that. So how does that make you feel, though, Kendall, that this guy is not a part of the...
I wish that he had a relationship with his daughter, but not. I don't. Only because I think it's just important. But but my life has been much easier. I mean, I know. let me be clear. My life has been much easier not having to. I know. Meeting at this restaurant, doing the switch off. Oh, they're an hour early. You're an hour late. Yeah. Oh, can I have your weekend? Can you have it? I've not had to deal with that. So. It really has been easy. There's been no challenges that way. Okay. I wish he had a relationship with his daughter, and I'm sure at some point in time he will. He'll want to.
So I was going to ask you a quick question. Have you ever noticed where your stepdaughter has had a longing to know her?
Not an ounce.
Really?
Not an ounce?
Really? Okay.
Or is it in the back of her mind? Because I know it always, it's got to be somewhere, because I never knew my father. Yeah. And it's still a longing in the back of my head.
Just to just know.
You know what I'm saying? To just know.
Yeah.
And, I think, and I don't know, but I think the only thing that she probably thinks about is he's in this city.
Yeah.
Right.
And he has chosen not to be with me. I don't know what more knowing you need to know. You know what I'm saying? Could you imagine? That'd be one thing if your dad was across the country or in Canada, but to know that your dad was in seconds. Look at social media. Yeah. My daughter's on all the platforms, so and so it would take you just Google her name and you would find out where she's at, where she lives, and what's going on with her. And he could call me, right?
Let me ask you this: do you think race plays a part in it, or no?
In this situation, I don't. I just think the dude was just he was not a good dude.
Okay, so then what is about the dude's family, the grandparents and stuff? So
when I first met my wife, we would take her daughter, my daughter, would over to her grandparents, and then they would the white grandparents, and then they would take her for the day or her birthday, what have you. Shortly after we met, and I actually was a part of that handoff once. And shortly after we met, that stopped. Like they stopped sending gifts because they would normally just send, if they couldn't make it, they'd send gifts and presents. That stopped immediately. So I don't know. Sometimes.
And you don't think race had nothing to do with it?
I don't. I'm that type of guy, that black guy. That's always the last thing I think. You know what I mean?
Right.
If I don't get a job, I'm thinking, I didn't interview well, I didn't dress well enough, but my resume wasn't good enough. So I'm generally that guy that thinks that's the last. But I've only met him once. So off that one interaction,
and after that one interaction, the kids and everything was dead.
Yeah. So they had, but
Wow.
but here's the other thing. My wife didn't date, right? So she didn't date. So from that guy to me, she didn't date anyone. So for 3 years, you know what I mean? So now they're like, oh, okay, well I guess she's taking care of. I don't know, to be honest with you. But off one interaction, I'd be foolish to make a claim of racism. Right. And I'm talking about when I say
definite abandonment.
Exactly. I'm talking about she went from my vehicle to their vehicle. We waved. We made sure we were gonna, what time we were gonna connect later, and that was it.
The end. That was it.
And that was it.
So let me ask.
Go ahead, Kendall. I'm sorry.
Do you feel like how you feel like this has affected your? I mean, do you feel like there's any type of effect?
With her? How her feel?
Yeah.
I don't think so. But I don't know. I've never asked. But I don't. She never. I mean, we talk all the time, and she's never actually asked. Oh my gosh, what's going on with them? What's going on? But I don't know. I don't.
Didn't you say you just had a birthday? How old is she now?
She's 22.
Okay, so she's grown now.
Yeah, she's grown.
So she's grown. So.
Yeah. So you think she ever, with all this social media and the platform, you think she ever looked him up?
She probably has. Yeah. I would think so. Yeah. She probably has. Mm-hmm. But I think the kids today are a lot smarter than they were when we were kids. You know what I mean? I think that hey, what is family? Family is people that love you, and that's it. Yeah. Whether they're black, white, Indonesian. I mean, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's the people that choose to spend time with you. You know what I mean? So even if he is her bio dad, if the guy doesn't choose to be with you.
So man, the only reason I kind of get into that because I'm kind of the same with you. Like I'm a stepdad too. Mm-hmm. So I have a stepson. He is 20. He'll be 23 this year. Okay. Actually, he has a birthday Tuesday, and so I've always been there, and I've never tried to step over the line of being anything more. I'm Kevin. I don't want to take his dad's place. I don't. But I could see too. There was a point in time where he had a longing to be with his dad and just kind of see what his dad was about, and it was strictly from an aspect of just curiosity. And so like he actually went to stay with his dad, and it didn't last very long, but he still had he wanted to experience that. So I think once he kind of experienced it himself, he could kind of see like, hey, this is what my dad's about. And so, but like the only reason I asked, because like I said too, when that time came with my stepson, it was kind of a deal too, where it's like I could see he was curious about it, and nobody could tell him that he had to experience it on his own. So
got it. Interesting. So, yeah, and to your point, Charles, I mean, I think she probably is curious, and I'm sure, without a doubt, she's Googled his name, and maybe once or twice a year she probably does. Maybe more than that. I don't know. But she's never expressed myself or my wife whether she wanted to see him or have an ongoing relationship with him.
And I think it's a different aspect with the women too.
And that also says a lot, though. That says that you must have stepped up and filled that void in a way where she didn't think she was missing anything.
Right. And that's kudos to you, man.
Right.
Kudos on that, because kudos.
Yeah, and my wife comes from a very large family. Her dad had 11 siblings. Her mom had 6. Right. So there are lots of grown men, uncles and great uncles and cousins, and I mean they go off and shoot guns, ride motorcycles. I'm like, you did what today?
Right.
I mean? So,
but it's still different than that dad in your house. Because kids notice that in school and stuff, whether you got 2 parents in the house or not. Yeah. And you wouldn't think they still talk about things like that, but they do. They do because the parents do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I know you're downplaying it because I know that you're a very humble dude, but you had to do a really good job with her for there not to be some kind of longing or effects or something to your knowledge of that.
Yeah. But you can see the interaction though. Say like you said, they talk about it in school, but you can see like sometime Kendall probably picked her up from school. Oh, yeah. Sometime the mom. And kids see that.
Right.
Like with me, not being, with, some of my ex-wives or whatever, because I have many, like we've already heard about. But especially when it's time to pick, say if she's working late, I'm always there. Hey, now that I own my own business, and I have always tried to own my own business in that aspect, so I would be able to do those things, like go pick the kids up from school, and then the kids see that, like, ooh, she has or he has a mom and a dad. His dad is pulling up this time, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. So, and that still resonates with kids, to this day.
Right.
It does.
Yeah.
It really
Yes,
absolutely
it does. So if just think the opposite, her dad's not in her life the way he wasn't, and you wasn't there, she would have definitely felt the effects of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
If it just would have been the mom.
Right, it would have just been the mom.
Like
right.
some of us was raised in, single house, So I know I was raised in a, single mom household. And then sometime, like, why does he have a father? Where the hell is my father? And stuff like that.
So Kendall, why don't you tell us about what was your stepdaughter like? Was she
Oh,
into,
man.
like, what's...
Kevin, you're trying to get me crying here.
We lose a tear.
No, she
have to rate.
No, she's awesome, man. She's awesome. She's tall. She's like 5'10", 5'11".
Okay, so she's tall.
She works in a hospital down in Houston.
Okay.
For the life of me, I asked her what her role was, and I forgot what the role was. But she's got a really intricate role in the hospital, admitting patients, making sure they're taken care of. So anyway, she's got a great job down in Houston, doing great, very educated, very opinionated. I remember, I was when she decided to leave our house. My wife and I weren't quite ready for that,
Never will be.
So I was complaining to a friend of mine, and it might be Kelly. I don't think it was Kelly, but I remember someone said, we said, Kendall, well, she left at 20, left the house, doing her own thing, just left. How old were you? And I was like, man, I was like 2 years out of high school. So you were 20 when you left the house. I was like, well, yeah. Well, she's just doing what you did. Didn't you leave the house? You just left. You went to Tulsa. Mm-hmm. You didn't ask your parents. You just left. And so, and you just started your life, right? And I was like, well, yeah, she's following in your footsteps. Yeah. So she's I won't say she's exactly like me, but a lot like me, very opinionated, very much like her mother, very opinionated. But a blessing, very smart, very intelligent, very caring, sensitive, but at the same time though, very headstrong, book knowledge. So thank you for asking. But she's a blessing. She's a blessing.
Well, tell us about your youngest daughter. First of all, you're raising a child. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful experience.
Yeah, it is.
But it's got to be a different feeling when you're having your own child. What was that like?
In the sense that, the only thing that was different was I've seen everything. You're like, I don't feel any different, okay. But you see everything. Like I was there when she was born. They cut the cord. You see them when they look completely different than what they look today. But they get all the stuff off them. They clean them up. They bring them into the room, and so I was there for all of that. The one thing with Natalie, but I didn't change any diapers on Natalie, right? With Sydney, I've changed a ton of diapers. You know what I mean? I forget. I used to think a diaper lasted all day. I had no idea. I had no idea. 45 minutes, and you got to get another diaper.
And the whole thing is too. Though, I used to wonder. I'm like, how to, I'm a vulgar person, so excuse my, French or whatever. But I always wonder, like, how the fuck this kid shit up the back? How did the fucking diaper explode or something? It's like, because I have twins that are 15 now, and I change their diaper on the regular basis. Why the fuck y'all shit up y'all back? How does that even happen? How does that even happen? So, and I understand that, and then you wonder, like, ooh, are these are fucking infants? They look like this is grown man shit.
Yeah, exactly. Like a 30-year-old man shit. But yeah, no. So so I missed those years of changing diapers, couldn't sleep, things like that. But man, it was a great experience. I mean, we had a C-section, so that's different. I don't know if you had any C-section, but that's different. That's always a funny story because all my friends that had C-section said, Kendall, man, sit down and don't look over the curtain.
But you can't help but look.
It's hard, right? So I'm with my wife. I can hear the baby crying, so I'm just sitting there. And the doctor says, shout out to Dr. Hubbard, says, hey, do you want to see her? Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm thinking she's going to bring her from around the curtain over to me, right? Yeah. She goes, So there's like a pause there for like 3 seconds. She goes, well, stand up.
Yeah.
And so I stand up and I'm like, oh my God, I see her. The umbilical cord.
Yeah.
But then I look down. So she hadn't cut the cord yet.
Right.
So I can see my wife's stomach
Yeah,
laid
you can see it.
open.
Right.
I was just like,
Wow.
oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, now I got to sit back
that's a
down.
shocking, that's a shocking experience because I've been there too.
Yep.
I videoed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to come. Y'all want to watch it? I do. I still have this. I still have it.
Wow.
I
Oh my
videoed
God.
it. I watched it. I cut the cord.
Oh.
Everything. But remember, I've been to war.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I've been to war.
I can understand that.
And so that I'm way past them days, them things. So I videoed it. I was on the other side of the thing. I was everything. I was when they was watching my little girl, she was crying. I was watching her too, telling her to calm down. And
If she'd asked me to cut the cord, I don't think I could have walked around. I wouldn't have made it.
Oh man.
Man, that's funny because I thought I was gonna be like that because I kind of just got I walked in there and C-section naturally, but so when my son came out, like he was there and then like the nurse was like, "Do you want to cut the cord?" And I was like, "No, I was playing," and it kind of caught me, but all of them like, "You're not gonna cut the cord?" I'm like, "Man, give me the scissors," and and they said, "No," I was like, "But I'm glad I did."
Yeah,
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
rubbery though.
It is.
It is hard
It
to
is.
cut.
I remember that
Yes.
feeling of the scissors like cutting that, and I was like, I'll never forget that. So
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
So what's your youngest daughter like?
Oh man, she is she loves dinosaurs, those Connect Legos, a lot of fun, very vocal, very opinionated, but it just goes from the time she wakes up at 6 to the time she goes to bed at 7. She's going, but very articulate, very opinionated. Will tell you, how she wants things, when she wants things, which is different because my dad was very heavy-handed, right? I don't know if you guys, we're all kind of in the same era. Dads were, you didn't ask for anything twice. You didn't interrupt adults. But if she were here right now, she'd walk right up to me and say, "Hey." My dad would have hit me a couple different times. So exactly. It's one of my biggest challenges now is balancing, letting her be opinionated, right? But not breaking her spirit. Because my dad, he was abrasive and he broke our spirit. Like we lived in fear of our father.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I don't want her to be fearful. Like I don't, as a little black female, I don't need her to be like to hold back her feelings, and to not articulate what she wants.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, okay, hey, you can't interrupt. Mr. Chuck, Mr. Kevin, you can't just walk in here.
Yeah.
Wait your turn, and then but it's hard to find that line because I could hit her, right? Like my dad hit me, and just squash that and have her live in fear of me. It would make my life easier, right?
Right.
But I don't want her to be like that black woman.
Because she is biracial, right?
She is.
So and then because I have biracial kids too, and then because sometimes they can't, it's hard to fit in. I'm not dark. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not white. I'm kind of in the middle, and sometimes people judge them for that. And I understand how you feel about that. Not making her want to be fearful or anything. Just letting her be her own person and be expressive, in that type of way. So that's a good thing. I like that. Yeah.
But yeah, she's a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun. Just very opinionated.
How was the relationship with your older daughter when you had your youngest daughter? Was there any jealousy or anything like that?
That was my biggest fear. That was my biggest fear, and it is zero. I mean, they love each other as much. I mean, my oldest daughter was just as excited to see her, to have her born, and to this day, my youngest daughter, we have an iPad, so she FaceTimes her 2-3 times a day. I mean, I'm gonna call Sissy. I'm like, well, Sissy's working.
What's the age difference?
So my oldest is 22, and then my youngest just turned 5.
Okay, so you do okay.
Yeah. But they are the best of friends. They call each other all the time, and it is wonderful. I could not ask for a better relationship between my 2 daughters.
Yeah. And that's probably a good thing, with the age difference and stuff, because she really feels like a big sister.
Yep.
Right.
It's funny because like with my stepson, when we told him that Eli was coming, he was like, "Man, y'all too old to be having kids."
Yep.
So it's funny, but man, like it's cool though, man, because I love to see the interaction because my son really looks up to when Darius comes home, so it's like they really have a great relationship, man. So it's like, but it's funny when we first told him, he was like, "Man, y'all too old to be having kids."
There is something to be said for being an older parent. I mean, there's something. I personally prefer it. Obviously I wasn't a younger,
I'm with you.
But I mean, I just don't. if my daughter comes in here and throws up on the floor, I'm not
Not
I'm not embarrassed. I'm like,
yeah,
I think if I were a 25-year-old parent, I'd be like, oh my God, my kid, But I'm just way more laid back, way more
I was
chill.
gonna say the benefits of me having a mirror older in life was I'm more stable.
Yep.
I'm ready. I'm patient. I like staying home.
Yep.
I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything to do things with her because I already did mine.
Yep. Yep.
Now the negative thing is sometimes when other couples our age are doing some couple things, we can't go and do them because our kids are still at home. Now we're gonna go to Venice for the week. Well, we can't go to Venice. Mira's in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So every now and
That
then
is-
you
that
run
is
you
true,
run into those things. But for the most part, I'm glad I have my daughter older in life.
I'm with you, man, because I felt like I've gotten to enjoy it more.
Absolutely.
Just because, like I said to you, like you're not so stressed out about certain things, and like I said too, like I look at certain, and it's like I just get to enjoy certain moments a little bit, and I have more perspective about it. So it's just like okay,
Right.
like yeah, so
Right.
So Kendall, let me ask you this: what obstacles have you had to face being a father? Say you have two different,
Probably, the biggest was just time restraints. I mean, you guys have all got kids. I was listening to the podcast. We were talking about Amira's soccer. Being in the car business for 20 years, I mean, there's always those challenges. Saturday is the biggest day. It's like Christmas every Saturday. And so, but most activities for children are going to be on Saturday. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that was probably my biggest challenge, and probably the thing that shaped me the most was when Natalie, my oldest, so Saturday, it's her birthday later that night. And so I've got a guy coming from Arkansas. Kelly, you've been here before.
Right.
Dude's like, doctor, I'm ready to buy 2 cars. Now, these 2 cars, in and of themselves, would have made me like $500. Not a big deal. But in the car business, when you get to certain levels from 8, 10, 12, 15, you get an extra bonus. So this would have been like probably $1,500 to me, maybe even 17. So this guy comes in and says, hey, I want these 2 cars. Go out there, get the cars. He said, okay, I want them, right? Come to find out, one of those cars was already spoken for. The salesman didn't put a sign in it. It's on the front line. So can't buy that car. He said, well, I said, well, you want to just buy the one? He goes, no, I want to buy 2. So I find another car that he's willing to buy, right? And another did the very same thing. Oh, I've got somebody on that car, right? So long story short, I called that. So that salesman put the customer in the car, leaves. Anyway, long story short, I'm furious. This guy's like, you know what? I'm not buying either. Oh, right? I can't buy this one because this guy's got it spoken for the second. And then this one car, I don't want just to buy 1 car. I want to buy 2, and I want to buy them tonight because I'm going back to Arkansas. I'm furious. I'm like, wow, I'm missing out on $1,700. And so I drive home. My oldest daughter is turning 16, but I can't. I can't see straight. Right. I'm just furious.
Your day was bad.
Yeah, and I missed her 16th birthday party. My wife gave me the ride. She says, you'll never, ever be able to go back in time and be there for that experience. You missed her 16th birthday. You'll never be able to do it again. You can't do anything to make up for it. And so that defined me. I was like, you know what? If we ever, at that point in time, she's only 16. There was no Sydney, but I thought I got to get myself in a situation where I can call my own shots, make my own plays, and own my own time. So that's why I started with another company and started doing financial services where I own my own time. But yeah, that was the challenge. Was time.
Oh yeah, I remember that. We working in the car business.
Oh yeah.
Like you said, in the beginning, I didn't miss birthdays or nothing, but I missed a couple of things in the beginning. Similar things happened, and it seemed like most of the time when I missed something, the deal, even if it went through, I didn't make what I thought I was going to be supposed to make or none of that. It didn't end up being worth it. So then what I started doing was, and people thought I was crazy for this, but I would go to another salesman with something like that come up. Look, man, I'm gonna give you half the deal. Just finish the paperwork. It's already done. I'm out. And I would give away half of my deals to be able to leave, so have family time, so the other sales could be there. But I sold so good, I could afford to do that. Cause like you said, those 1 or 2 sales difference can once you go from 12 cars to say to 15 cars, that's like almost another $4,000.
Yeah.
Right.
A month.
Yep.
That month, $4,000 extra pay.
Yep.
it makes you question, am I going to the party or not? Hell, this pays for the party and gets another party.
And I think it's easy to justify. Oh, I make the money. I pay the mortgage and things like that. But at the end of the day, you got to think about what's most important.
That's what goes back to our opening quote. Everything we do before family, but nothing before family.
Yeah.
And that's where I got that model from, was actually the car business really honed that in for me working in there. Because I had to tell one of my GMs one time, he got mad because I was because I went on family trips and everything. I didn't care. Right. And I was like, I knew they wasn't going to fire me. Nobody sold more cars to me. Right, exactly. So, the average industry was like 10 a month. I was selling like 28 a month. Yeah. So
luxury cars,
right?
Yeah,
the material things we can always get back. We can get the money back. The little trinkets, but we never can get that time back.
No, right? And that's what I ended up. I had to tell my GM he wanted me to spend more time at the dealership for his benefit, not for mine. Yeah. And I had to say, you got to understand, we go to work to support our family and give them more options. Because that's all money is. Money just gives you more options to do more things. Yeah, exactly. So that's what we go to work for. But we don't go to, it ain't before the family. My family's first. Because if I lost this job and I still got my family, I'm cool. Yeah. But if I lose my family and I still got this job, I ain't cool.
Yeah, that's real. Let me ask you this though, regarding we always go into this a segment on on the podcast about the Black Father Code. What would you think, especially having girls? What would you think one of the Black Father codes would be, or Black Dad codes would be on raising a young lady in these days and time?
Without a doubt, it'd be time. You got to spend time with them. I mean, because we only have a short period of time with them, right? I used to think, oh yeah, I've got my daughter until she's 18, maybe 20. But I said, once they hit about 11, 12, they start getting, phones, iPads.
Right.
They only want to be a part of it.
You get ditched.
So you need some money.
Yeah. So exactly. So my
cash at me.
Cash at me. Yeah. So my thing is, I want to spend as much time with my daughter as possible, and I think everybody, whether you have boys, girls, just spend as much time as possible, because you really don't have that much time. You got 10 to 12 years, and then they're gonna start, forming their own opinions about things and likes and dislikes and people that they want to spend time with. And I lost my mom when I was fairly young, so I was 11, and so I have a handful of memories with my mom, and I hang on to those. So my thing also along with time was create as many memories as I can with my daughter, so she remembers me. She remembers the sound of my voice, what I look like, these moments. Because I don't know, I'm in the life insurance business. I could die. I might not make it home today, right? So I spend as much time as I can. I mean, hours upon hours upon hours, 3-6 hours a day, 8 hours, 10, as much as you can. So I would say any black dad, any black dad, Latino dad, Indian dad, whatever you are, spend as much time with your kids as possible, because you don't know when your time is up.
Exactly. So, Kendall, we do this every show.
Yep.
It's the Black Dad Tough Question of the Day.
Okay.
So, being in the car business, how do you feel like it damaged your relationship with your daughter?
I can't go back in time, and it's that 16th birthday.
Yeah.
So you got to shed a tear.
So
you got some tears.
Got me going here, but no, you can't. You can't go back in time.
Yeah.
So celebrate every moment you can, and I don't necessarily celebrate, but I mean just spend as much time with your kids as possible, because you can't go back, And so every day I wake up, I'm constantly thinking, let me get through this, whatever I do. I gotta make money, right? You gotta make money. You gotta perform at a high level.
Yeah.
Do that, and then get to your family as fast as you can. Yeah. And probably the other thing is, so that was, to answer your question, spend time with your kids. That was my biggest challenge. But also, I challenge, dads across the country, in the world, get over the petty things quick. That's what I tell myself. That was my favorite suit, and she spilled something on it. But get over that as quickly as you can. I mean, you know what I mean? Settle that, squash it, get over it as quickly as you can, and get back to loving your family, because you really don't know. doing what I do, I've seen people die at 16, 18, 28.
Yeah.
You know, when you think about funerals, you think, oh, it's got 80, 95. But I've been to some young guys' funerals. A buddy of mine was 50, had pancreatic cancer, dead in 8 months. And this is a guy that looked just like us, right? The RA looked just like us. I mean, gone, pancreatic cancer. So, so anyway, yeah. So that damaged my relationship with my daughter. Was I didn't put an emphasis on 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, those holidays where most businesses are off. The car business wasn't that way.
Right.
So I was always late to things like the barbecue started at 12. I got off at 6. By the time I get there at 6:30, everybody's packing up, taking it to go boxes. You know what I mean? So that damaged my relationship with my oldest daughter to a certain extent. But my point is to make up for it every day. I text her stuff. All the time. Once a day,
we usually ask when we ask what's something that is Black Dad Code, we also ask something that goes against Black Dad Code. So what would be something to you that goes against Black Dad Code that you don't want to see us doing, or we need to refrain from a correct?
Money over time with your family. I mean, as men, we make a lot of excuses why we can't be there, why we can't do this, why we can't do that. And we have to be honest with ourselves. We can't continue to just lie to ourselves saying, honey, because it's easy, because no one's going to combat that, right? If you say, honey, I got to make money, she's not going to say, no, don't make money. Yeah. But in our minds, we know, this, like in our mind, this $3,000-4,000 is not going to change much in my life. You know what I mean? Like if Chuck does give me $10,000 right now, I still got to go to work on Mondays, right? So money is not going to replace that time. And so I think putting that, lying to yourself, honey, I got to make money. I got to be gone. I got to do this. I got to be gone. Yeah. That I would say will go against it. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to your spouse.
And think about it. You missed the party. You didn't get the sale anyway, right?
Nope, missed the sale.
Okay. Are you still surviving? Was everything still paid?
Nothing.
Did you make it through that month?
Nope.
And you didn't have the money.
Didn't even have it.
I remember we worked together because you thought at first I was one of the cockiest, craziest people you ever made.
I've known Kelly a long time, and literally people don't give him enough credit. So when Kelly says he's selling 20 and 28 cars, that's luxury cars. Now I think that's possible at a Chevy store or something like that. But when you're selling cars that are average 50 to 60,000, that's the base. That's the cheapest car you have, and you're selling 28 of those. That's saying something.
Yeah.
But yeah. So when you miss out on when he was missing sales to go to his kids' parties and things like that, that's a lot of money. That's real money.
Right. But even with that said, I knew with having my daughter, because I was older, and I still feel that way. Even as a single dad, I only have so much time with her. Because when she hits a certain age, she's with her friends, and it becomes about that. But if I invest correctly before she comes to that stage, she's always going to give me a little bit of time because she's going to miss that relationship that we've built.
Exactly.
And so, and that was been my main focus all the time. And so when I go to work, I go hard. I do not. I hit the dealership at 7:30. There's a customer sitting there at 7:45. I'm trying to sell him something. And I mean, you say, how can you do that? What's in the door? People come in service. I was hitting people up in service. They getting their car service.
Kelly was in beast mode. Beast mode.
Right. And
they
because
trying to get their oil changed.
Walking through, going to the bathroom.
Yeah, going to the bathroom.
You need an oil change. It's time for a new car.
Yeah.
And Kelly was out of town for a number of years and helped me sell cars over the phone. Like literally, literally was over. Was helping give me advice over the phone. I'd leave. I'd get on the phone with him, hang up, go into my manager's office, say what Kelly said to say, come back, got a deal. We did that at least 5 or 6 times.
Yeah, it was pretty cool because what it was is I met me and Kendall were the only 2 black salesmen on the luxury circuit. He was at Lexus, I was at Audi. We was by the same owners, and everything else was white. And he won't say this, but I feel his GM over his store was racist because I tried to apply to his store first, and the dude treated me like crap when I walked in the door. He didn't even get to know me, looked down on me, everything. I mean, I remember it distinctively, and I left and went back to Honda because I was like, everybody, you need to work at Lexus. That's the #1 store. So, man, the dude treated me so bad, I literally walked out. So then when Audi called me, the GM from Audi was like, I used to be at Lexus. I'm going to Audi. I'm competing against them. I want to beat them. I said, bet.
Yeah.
I'm going to beat them because of what he did, and I'm going to show him you should have hired me.
Well, that stuff
So I came in. I didn't want to just be the number one salesman at Audi. I wanted to be the number one salesman at Audi, Lexus, Volkswagen, Jaguar, Cadillac. You going to wish you hired me.
Yeah.
So then Kendall came on. I like Kendall, and he was a good dude and everything. And me and my GM had became really tight. And he was telling me one morning, because he knew me and Kendall was cool. He said, they're getting ready to let him go. I said, what for? They said, you know, he's the lowest salesman on the board and everything, so they're fixing to let him go. So I said, well, has anybody even tried to work with him or teach him anything? And he was like, I don't know, Kelly. I said, John, do me a favor. Tell David to give me 2 months with him. And if you don't do that 2 months, y'all do what y'all gonna do. But ask David. Say, David, I'm asking this favor. Let me see what I can do in 2 months. And so John went. They was the owner. So my GM went to another store. Went to his owner, said, let Kelly work with him.
Right.
And because I knew they weren't investing in Kendall like they were doing to other customers, other salespeople, and they weren't doing his deals the same way.
Right.
That's true.
So I had to teach him how to do his deals himself. And then when you go to the manager, it's already done.
Yeah.
Because they had gave me that freedom at Audi. They gave me full everything. So I started working with Kendall. So I ended up going away to prison. And so I'm calling Kendall on the phone, like, hey, how you doing, this and that. And he accepted my phone calls, which was rare and great, y'all know. And he's telling me he's struggling with a deal. So I said, okay, tell me about the deal, everything. So I just started closing deals from prison. I would just call him from prison and closing deals for him from prison. Like this kid is
Saturday afternoon, 11 in the morning, and he's in prison. And yeah, I was gonna say that part,
right.
but literally, and it worked. And I did exactly to the letter what Kelly told me to say.
Right.
And was closing deals.
And he went from the last salesman to him and the top salesman battling every month for number one.
That's awesome, man.
And so then I called John Hill up, the GM, and I say, what'd I tell you? And then they like, Kelly, it's amazing. It's this and that. So Kendall now, he the dude, they raving on Kendall now at Lexus and everything. And it changed his, and that's when he was having his daughter born, everything. It was a tough time for the brother. I was like, man, you can't lose his job like this. You know, I knew he had it. I was like, let's just work with him. So that's our relationship that we have.
And then when I decided to leave the dealership, I mean, they were, you know, we'll do this for you, we'll do that for you, we'll do this for you. I took my wife out to dinner, you know, hey, can we work with you? And I, you know, I was done with it. But to going from almost losing my job to you know,
having to do that.
having to you know go, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we make these concessions? So that's what Kelly did for me. So that's why we're tight.
And also, you did something else for yourself in that you was able to hit that switch. See, I could tell you, but you had to execute it.
Right.
I can't execute it. I can only tell you. You just didn't have the information. You had to make it work. But look, you didn't only hit the switch, because when I met Kendall, not only was he's very humble and quiet, but he was even like that as a salesman. He wasn't a shark. He was definitely a dolphin.
He doesn't
You know what I'm saying? Right. He gonna save you, pull you to shore, swim with you. He ain't gonna go in for the kill. You know what I'm saying? He was a dolphin.
Yeah, and you need that to say.
Right. And I'm like, no, bro, we sharks. You know what I'm saying? We sharks, we'll do a little dolphin in here and there, but we sharks. And Kendall switched that switch, and now you don't even realize it. You got your own business now. And you're selling. You're doing all the things that you was this close to losing for yourself now. Yeah.
That's real. I'm gonna ask you, Kevin, because I know we need to get some closing remarks because we're getting close to the end of this segment. What's some closing remarks that you have, Kev?
Man, I think one of the things is Kendall spoke about is just that time and just making sure we invest that. And then, you know, money comes and goes. But at the end of the day, like you said too, you'll never get these moments and that time back. And so really emphasizing that time with the family and with the young ones and just taking it in and making sure too, we just really enjoy that, because like you said too, we never know what the last day is. So
You never know.
Hey Chuck, what would be your closing remarks?
I mean, and I wanted to really say this too, since Kendall is in the financial market. I think the one close that we as black men or as a black society, we need to get life insurance.
Yes.
Before anything else, we need to have life insurance, because it's too many times that, you know, even out here, some of my friends and some of my even family members, they don't have life insurance. So when they die and it's time to bury them, we gotta, you know, GoFundMe or go ask this or that and that. That's one thing that we need to always have throughout every generation, and we need to put in our kids' head: life insurance. Yeah,
and me and Kendall were talking about too, not only the life insurance, but just a what kind of policy?
Oh, long-term care.
Yeah, long-term care. If you get
exactly.
sick or something like, because I mean, like I said too, there's that happens, and like I said, you may have had this built up, and then like too, you don't have a long-term care, and you have to sell some assets off just to
and putting wills in place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin and I were talking outside, and we were talking about, you know, I know some people that have, you know, their parents did a great job, right? Had 4, 5, 6 homes paid off, but didn't have a will, so it had to go through probate.
Right.
And so probate is not an easy process. That's not a weekend thing, right? That can be months, that could be years. And so, you know, individuals are left to come out of their pocket to pay their taxes for those years on these 5, 6, 7 homes. And it can be, you know, so what do? Sometimes you have an inheritance, but you can't afford to take care of it. You just let it go.
Just let it go.
You know, and so that stops that generational wealth.
Right, exactly.
You know, so anyway,
Kelly. So your closing remarks over there.
Like you said, everything was with time and also with the financial situation. Part of being a black dad is taking care of your kids on all levels. And that's why I wanted to interview Kendall, because he had a unique experience being a stepfather to a different race child, and also him as a financial advisor. One of the things too about life insurance you guys are talking about, it can also be a form of investment for you.
Exactly.
It can be a very lucrative form of investment. So as black dads, we have to utilize all our resources in our community that can make us better. And that's what we plan on doing on this here platform. We plan on interviewing dads from all different walks to get every perspective of fatherhood to build a better community of fathers.
That's right. I understand that.
Kendall, what would be your closing remarks?
you know, I would echo what you said, which is, you know, obviously time. I think that goes without question, but also finances. You know, leave your kids some finances, not just, you know, to take care, not to just to, so they have a lump sum of money, but there are things that they need to take care of: taxes, wills, you know, burial expenses, medical expenses. Right. You know what I mean? You might have been sick for 8 months and then pass away, and now your family's left to take care of those bills. You know what I mean? But leave an inheritance to your children. Give them assets. Protect those assets. Don't just say, "Hey, I got this house paid off." Have a will saying this goes to Kevin. This goes to Chuck. You know what I mean? But talk to an advisor. Get a plan together. Execute that plan. And when you exit this earth, know that you did the best job you could time-wise, you know, with your kids, but also financially, because money solves. I think it's even in the Bible. There's a verse, I can't remember where it's at, but it says money solves all things, and that's true. Leaving your kids some cash, it can make a world of difference, because in our community, we just don't have that generational wealth. We wonder, you know, why are other races ahead of us? Why do they leave so much more to? But that's, you know,
the insurance policies.
Yeah,
that's how the other races move on, and we don't get that yet. We too busy, you know, buying Jordans and fancy cars and stuff. We need to have life insurance, like on a big scale, like $1 million, $2 million life insurance plans. So after you pay $10,000 to $20,000 to bury me, all the rest of that's coming back, you know, to the house or to the family, and that's only how we're gonna build a generational wealth. Yeah,
and most of our wealth. Going back to what Kevin and I were talking about, most of our wealth, most people across the country, most of their wealth, regardless of race, is tied up in their homes. But if you lose that home because of taxes, because of what have you, then that just stopped. You know what I mean? $300,000, it's gone. So now your kids have to start from ground zero. Right. You know, most of our wealth can be tied up in our homes. Protect that. Get a long-term care policy. Get a life insurance policy. So when you leave that to their kids, they can pay the taxes on it. You know, but anyway, that would be my takeaway.
Black man, black fam, black fam. Thank you for watching this episode of Black Dad Code, where everything we do before family, nothing before family. 'Cause we
came up off of slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane. We came up off of slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane, slinging Mary Jane. Hey, GRE came into my district. Take off your shoes when you enter my whip. But she bad, but she bad, but she bad to the bone. I get much satisfaction, count cash and I'm gone. Niggas accident prone, horse fall off. I ain't fanning no bro, made her take her clothes off. Just a trill young nigga, business since it scrolled out. I ain't fucking with no labels, we know how to hold out.
Phone steady buzzing, that's the clientele. Thumbing through the door, shipping lows, moving by the bill. Grinding on a daily, made it legal, I ain't stunting 12. Pull up to your low with the package like it's in the mail. Dug it my whole life, but I got right, and it ain't hard to tell.